What do you want to do? You want to optimize kind of everything you've worked so hard for? Who doesn't? And how do we weigh that with flexibility? Because what you could do is you could absolutely go get another job where maybe you're working for an airline and your hours are stressful. You can't really get a family maybe, or you can, but it's more difficult. You max out a 401k. You're only adding to a bigger tax burden as I see it. If most of your money is already in, even if it's Roth dollars, I'm like, awesome. You can always touch the principal, but it doesn't mean you should because it's the best account for tax-free growth. Now, I put out a fun episode, at least I thought it was fun, a little bit ago, and it showed that so many people don't even pull from their Roth, meaning it's their best account, but they're like, I should let it grow. So then they don't even end up using it, which is like, well, then what's the point? So don't pull from it unnecessarily. But if I'm you, I'm thinking about it in the sense of, okay, what do I want to prioritize? If it's flexibility, so I can spend more time with family or be able to buy a plane or whatever it is, the risk is if you put, let's just pretend you took all brokerage money and you said, you know what, I'm going to put any additional dollars I make into a rental property. You could accumulate multiple rental properties and you could bring in tons of income. The argument is, do you need income? And what I'd focus on is total return. What's bringing us the most money? And if that could be a property that appreciates and throws off income, it's like winner, winner. And if it doesn't take a lot of time and you like doing it and you're good at it, I'm like, let's spend time doing that. For example, myself, I could own rental properties, but my biggest return on investment is me running my business. And I love getting to do it. I have friends that are so savvy with rental properties and they kind of like it. They could kind of fix stuff up. So I'm like, great, you should do that. So what I would consider is this superhero account lets you do whatever you want. So what you do have to kind of pay the cost in is dividends and interest along the way. But to me, that's a small price to pay for flexibility. So let's pretend you put, the most to your Roth IRA, assuming you're doing the back door or whatever you need to do for earnings purposes. And then the rest is going to a superhero account. And let's pretend there's $700,000 in there and I don't know, let's say 5 or 6 years. And that otherwise could have gone to a qualified account. I'm like, Andy, your qualified account, your 401k or TSP, should I say, your Roth IRA, not saying you're kind of good, but like, look, that 500 becomes a million, becomes 2, becomes 4. Like, I'm not saying don't save another dollar there, but kind of close to that. Like, you're just gonna add to more money you can't touch, and you're gonna be 55, 59 and a half when you really start pulling from it. Ideally, potentially even longer. The superhero account, the reason I love it is it can act like a Roth IRA because of something called tax gain harvesting. Have you heard of that before?
I have, but I haven't delved deep enough into details to understand exactly how I would actually execute it as I get
Yes. And it
further
would be
into my.
weird, by the way,
Yeah,
if you did, because you'd be so far ahead where it creates that analysis paralysis, to be
yeah.
honest. But the short answer is you want to make sure you don't lock yourself into something where if it turns out you don't love your job or you want to have a family and take time off or switch, that you can't because you have a property that you can't sell. Like that's just a hassle. So having extra in a superhero account, I've never had someone be upset at that. The reason I am personally prioritizing my superhero account is I don't know what life's going to bring. And I want to have the flexibility to just do whatever the heck I want to do. And this account allows you to essentially act like a Roth IRA if you use it well. So what I mean by that is let's pretend, Andy, you said in 5 years, I'm going to have a family. I want to be able to travel, whatever it is. Maybe you don't if the kids are young and screaming in first class, but maybe you're not a first class guy. But regardless, the point here is in 5 years, you choose to sell the San Diego property. Maybe there's still a mortgage, but you come out on top and you've got 300,000-400,000 and you've been saving in your superhero. So now you have $1 million there. That's $1 million that you could choose to do whatever you want with. And theoretically, your income is zero, assuming no pension and your spouse or partner is not working. You can generate up to $126,000 a year today and pay 0% in taxes, which means you put money into the superhero account, it grew, and you can take winnings off and pay no taxes. You could theoretically do that for 10 years. You could live off of that from 40 to 50 if you wanted to. And it's still going to grow along the way. So this is something most people don't even know is an option. Now, pretend your rental income is still, you enjoy the property, and it threw off 50,000 a year of income, hypothetically. Well, with rental income, you can be smarter than what I just shared there. But 50,000 is coming in, and you can realize up to 126,000 tax-free. that means there's 76,000 that you would be able to pay 0% taxes on. So what you can do is ask yourself, what's going to put me in the best spot? And the risk is if you were to put too much into a TSP or 401k today, you add to a future tax burden. If you put too much into rental properties, the risk is one goes belly up or insurance or whatever you have it. You can't sell one and the timing isn't right. And now you're having to work a job you don't necessarily need. So I'm almost thinking if the goal is to buy a plane one day, or if the goal is to start to experiment what you actually love doing with your family, the superhero account is the best option to start doing those things.